Welcome to the Chamber Neighbors Podcast, a show highlighting Chapin's community and commerce. Now here's your hosts, Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Paul Sadler, and Chapin Neighbors Magazine's Daniel Rendelman.
This is Daniel with the Chapin Neighbors Magazine.
And I'm Paul Sadler with the Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce.
And Paul, we've got a special guest here today.
We
Who
do.
is with us?
Today we've got a treat, Daniel.
Another treat.
We've got Coach Gentry from Chapin High School, the varsity head football coach.
Wow, guys. So he made the long trek over to a chamber house.
It took a while to get here. It's far from Chapin High School and far from his office, but he made it. And we're glad you're here.
Yes, we are. And Coach Gentry, thanks so much for joining us here today. Why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Justin Gentry, originally from Utahville, South Carolina. Went to Francis Marion University, met my wife there, and started teaching and coaching straight after that. This profession has a tendency to take you around to a bunch of different places, and so I've been fortunate. Everybody I've worked with and been able to learn under as a teacher and a coach. Started off at Williston-Elko High School teaching third grade.
Third grade.
Yeah.
Third grade. Big old Coach Gentry. Third grade teacher. How about that?
In Williston. Williston's the country.
Yes, it is.
Like you go towards the woods to get to Williston.
But I left Williston, went with Coach Boyd, who hired me straight out of college, to Marlboro County. Spent 4 years there with him. Got to be a part of a couple state championships. Then went back to Williston-Elko as the head football coach, athletic director.
Oh, wow.
And then stayed there for 3 years as the head football and AD, and left and went to Lake City High School over in Florence County. I was there for 6 years as the co-AD and head football coach. And then this is starting my 14th year right here in Chapin.
All right, man, 14 years already. How about that? That's a long time.
That is.
So what got you into coaching? What made you decide to go that career path?
I'm the son of a coach. My dad was a high school basketball coach. My older brother at one point was a head football, head baseball, and athletic director. So it runs in our family. Didn't really know what I wanted to do while I was in college. I knew I loved sports. The game had stopped for me, just like it comes to stop with everybody. Right. And started working at a YMCA, working with young people, and really found my passion working with, and that's the little ones, hence the elementary. So fell in love with that aspect of it. I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Do you miss the little kids?
I do. I always tell people when I retire, I'm going back to a third grade classroom.
Look at that.
How about that? And I see that in you, though. So Ethan, my son, was at the camps that you've run the last couple of years during the summertime. And there's, smaller kids there, too. And just seeing those kids run around is just awesome. And so I can see your passion for those little kids as well, and developing those young.
I've got to stop this whole podcast and just ask the one question everybody wants to know, which is, how is the varsity team looking for this year?
Ooh.
Is that okay?
Let's go back to elementary education. Because that's what we are. We're a bunch of young guys.
Young team, huh?
Yep, very young team. A lot of youth. We've got in our program right now at the high school, I think we counted about 140, 150 guys. The youth movement is here. Last year we were young. We're young again this year. We've got a good group of seniors, but the bulk of everybody coming in are new.
Why
new
is that?
positions.
How does that work? How do we have a young group of players this year?
It's just in small towns, even though we're a big school, we're a small town, and you have these type of years, where it's just the way it's cultivated in these smaller towns. Where you hit the youth movement. Youth movement is not bad. It's just we got some growing pains we've got to get through. We did last year. There's some already we've faced this year, but overall we're very optimistic about what's happening in our program.
And you see that in colleges and NFL and other groups, so it's not abnormal. However, you also pull out some great wins and make some success happen, and preparing the team for the future years as well.
That's right. And we're relying on a lot of our young guys. We did last year as well. So it is what it is. It's one of those things. At this point, it's not an excuse. It is what it is, and we're just going to get better every time we take the field.
Right, you're just going to grow, continue to grow as the season starts. So, what are the team's strengths this year? What do we got going for us this year?
I could say a strength and a weakness is our youth. These guys are coming to us. They're very coachable, do exactly what we tell them to do. With that being said, sometimes it's a head scratcher. It does get frustrating at times, but because just the overall lack of experience, of what would they have done in this position this time last year. A lot of them even some of our older guys are considered young because they're playing a whole new role on our team. So, so I'd say our strengths, Brady Albro, our quarterback, as a seasoned veteran, he's just a junior. Our receiving core right now is as deep as we've had. We're trying to find ways to get the ball in their hands. And, offensive line, we're pretty young up front, but very optimistic about what we'll be able to do with those guys. But, and then defensively, we're putting in a new to us type of mentality defense. It's a 3 hands down, 3-5 defense, old Charlie Strong defense from the USC days.
Okay, old Charlie.
So, we've still got some question marks on that side of the ball. We're trying to get some guys in the right spot, still moving some guys around. So
I'm sure it's a work in progress leading up to the first game, right? I mean, you're making changes and tweaks up until that first game.
And even during the season, I'm sure lots of changes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon to be in week 2, week 3, and we realize, okay, this guy could help us a little more here or whatever, and that's we're always evolving. That's you put something in concrete this time of year,
you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Well, speaking of that, in this time of year, football has really become a year-long game with conditioning and getting ready, and kind of considering what does that look like year-round for varsity football?
It is, and as football coaches, we've done this to ourselves. But it's one of those things you have to keep up with the Joneses, and fast forward to November, December this year, we'll shut them down for about a month, and then starting in January, we crank right back up with heavy conditioning and lifting, and now we have an open season in March. We can take them out and do some different things with them. This past year was the first year we could do that.
Wow.
Then we start spring ball in May. We've had the month of May, and then obviously the summer. So it is year round. It's a little more difficult in Chapin because a lot of our kids, I'd say without doing the math, 90% of our young guys play other sports, especially spring sports.
Okay. So that's what you want too. You want a well-rounded athlete,
right? And we push them, and that's we push them to play other sports. We want them to play other sports. It helps them develop as an athlete and as a young person. However, some of the bigger 5A schools, we're one of the small ones. They have football players year round, right. and we don't. I mean, that's just the way it is. But like I said, we push it as coaches. We want our guys involved with other sports. We're not blessed on paper. We have a lot of athletes, but by bodies at Chapin High School, we rely on those kids to play 2 or 3 sports.
So what's the strength and conditioning program look like for the kids? I mean, they're lifting weights throughout the year. I mean, do you have a strength and conditioning coach? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, we hired David Prince last year as our head strength and conditioning coach. He's a Hall of Famer, and he is the best in the business, and we're very fortunate to go out and get him. I've known David. He and I have worked together at Lake City. So he's someone I totally trust and let him engulf with the strength and conditioning program for all athletes, not just football.
Okay.
So he's working out our girls' soccer team, our boys' soccer team, our basketball teams. So he is.
Well, that's a tough job.
Yeah,
because you train those athletes completely different than you would treat like a football player versus a lacrosse player versus a tennis player,
chess
right?
player,
chess. I don't know.
The arm,
the arm, right? Yes, you got to be conditioned to play chess.
You got to watch it.
Speaking of student athletes, what are the greater challenges that student athletes are facing today that maybe they didn't face 10, 15, 20 years ago when you got started?
I would say there's so much more out there for them to do. There's, whether it's working jobs or the video games, there's just so much going on out there that they can choose from. The other thing that we've noticed in the last 3 years is COVID changed athletics, and it changed commitment levels, it changed dedication. So that's the biggest challenge we see as coaches.
Positive or negative changes?
Negative.
Why?
Really.
What does that mean? A young person, whereas before COVID, if they weren't at practice, we knew where they were, we knew why they weren't here. When COVID hit, we were worried that somebody in the family went deathly ill, or the student themselves. And so I would say your attendance, when I say dedication, I'm going to talk about attendance, and so we saw an attendance drop, just like we have in people's workforces. You've seen the change in everything.
Absolutely.
And so it's no different with athletics. And, we're trying to reel that in. I think we've got a pretty good game plan with that this year, and just starting to hold them a little more accountable than we had to in the past.
Football is such a mainstay as well in the Midlands, and the Chapin Eagles. Everybody loves to come out for the games.
Friday Night Lights.
Oh my goodness,
man!
Just have created such an amazing. It's like it is entertainment, not just for the parents, but everyone in the community.
And we've got some renovations going on next door too, right? So tell us a little about those and how that is impacting our Friday Night Lights.
Yeah,
for the good.
Oh yeah, it's we've taken this program. When I got here, we were a small 3A school. Now we're a 5A school, and so it's been a work in progress for about 13 years, trying to get increased seating. I can't remember the year, 2018, 17, whenever we played for the lower state championship in 4A, we hosted it right here. We had to bring in like 1,000 seats just to host it. And, and right now our minimum seating in the capacity prior to what's being added, we couldn't even host a home playoff game in 5A. So much needed space.
Yeah. More stands, more visitor seats, more seats on the home
And
side.
what about the turf?
The turf looks amazing.
The pictures are. I just want to go run.
You need to go over there and check it out.
Can I run?
I don't know if Coach Gentry will allow you on the field. But let me tell you, I got on there and I checked it out, and it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it rivals any other turf in the state. Wow.
And the company, Sprint Turf, put that in, and they did an amazing job. Came in, they hustled.
They got it in and out quick.
Yes, they did a great job. So we've been overall very pleased with it, and so the turf is ready to go. There's everything else around us is still fluid. They just finished the visitor seating, so the home side seating and the home side construction. We're still a ways out with that. Right. But the biggest thing is we've got the turf, we've got the visitor seating going to give us some extra added seating for this coming season.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great, and it looks great, and there's a lot of big things that are coming to Chapin. Now, I did want to say one thing. You've got a coach on your team who likes to eat.
Oh,
Coach Clanton. Coach Clanton. I've seen him on Bacon Southern Eatery's Facebook page here lately for eating this humongous biscuit in under 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Oh, he did it. That was him.
He did it. It was incredible. I mean, he ate that thing fast. Were you there? Did you see him do that?
Yeah, I saw it firsthand. Now, he went back and beat it.
I heard he went back and beat it. He lost it really quickly.
To a former player.
I was saying he lost it to the bathroom.
Yeah, oh, man. Yeah, that's where mine would go. And then I heard he beat it again. So that's awesome. I think his record right now stands at 1 minute and 50 seconds, I believe.
Like that,
something ridiculous. This biscuit was huge. So I see some former players have already chimed in online and said, "Hey, we've got this. We're gonna beat this." I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know how he did it. But
speaking of coaches, you have several other coaches that come alongside you as well?
Yes, we've got between middle school all the way up to varsity, we've got 22 coaches on our staff.
22 coaches.
22 coaches.
Wow. How many do you have for varsity? How many is that roughly?
Our varsity, JV, and B team, we do everything together, so it's about 15.
Wow.
So the 15 of us coach the 3 teams, and then we have the remainder 6 or 7 with the C team.
With the C team. All right. Well,
And explain to our listeners the B and C and all of that if you can.
Okay, our C team is our 7th and 8th graders. That's our middle school program. The B team is our 9th grade players. Our JV consists of 10th and 11th, some 11th.
Okay.
There's a lot of football programs. There's a lot of football going on next door.
Yes,
there is. With a lot of kids. All right, so as we prepare for the season, how can our listeners learn more about Chapin football? How can they get a schedule? Where do they go to find out all this information?
They go to the Chapin Eagle Club website, has all our information up to date. The lower level schedules are still a work in progress. We have the schedules, times, locations. We're on our second year of what we call realignment period.
Okay.
So anytime, that first year is usually pretty easy. The second year is hard getting times from other teams and stuff. So we know where we're playing. We just don't know times.
Don't know what time.
We know what time we have.
Right.
I just don't know what they have at this point. But
exactly.
It should be out at least by today. So everything will be on the Booster Club's website. And that's the best way to follow us. You can follow me on Twitter or on Facebook. And we're in the process of getting the Chapin football Facebook back up. And running. So
it's chapinsports.com.
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 Yep, that's the Eagle Club's website. And so, they do a great job, too. Speaking of the Eagle Club, man, what a great support system for not only just the football team, but also for all sports in Chapin.
And what about for the public to support the football players? What's the best way for them to do that?
The biggest thing, obviously, is come out and support them on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. And be in the stands. Nothing means more to those young men, knowing that the fruits of their labor is being shown off in front of their own community. If they want to monetarily get involved through our Booster Club, our Chapin Eagle Club is the best way to do it. And just get involved. It's challenging times right now. Like I said earlier, there's so much going on out there, not just for our players, but for everybody. But we're still a small one-horse town, and we love the fact that when we come down that hill, it's a packed stadium every Friday night.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, Coach Gentry, thank you so much for being on our podcast today. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Yes.
We're going to be cheering on our Eagles.
Go Eagles!
Go Eagles!
Thank y'all.
This has been the Chapin Neighbors Podcast, where we highlight all that makes our community special. We hope you enjoyed our time together. Please like, subscribe, and share the Chapin Chamber Neighbors Podcast.